and welcome back. It's Miss Kelsey with this week's movement lesson. Today we're looking at plants and humans, how we're so much alike, but we obviously don't look the same. But what do we need to survive? What does surviving look like? And what if we could be thriving? Let's check it out. Let's move on to our warm-up. Remember, our warm-up gets our bodies nice and warm and ready to move. So we will start standing tall like this. You will stand either behind your chair, or if you have this open space, you'll stand tall like this. And I say, "Hello, class." You say, "Hello, Miss Kelsey." Let's try it. "Hello, class." "Hello, Miss Kelsey." Great job! Now I'm going to do a move and you repeat it back to me. "Hello, class." "Hello, class." "Hello, class." "Hello, class." "Hello, class." "Hello, class." Great job! Now, we've learned about a lot of different things in movements. We've made shapes with our whole body. We've made shapes with one finger. We've talked about levels. We can make high shapes and low shapes. We've talked about movement that you do in one place. What was that word? Non-locomotor movement. You say it. Non-locomotor movement. And that looks like wiggling or reaching or melting. And then we moved away from this space. We walked there. We skipped there. We ice skated there. And that was called locomotor movement. So we have all of these options for how to move our body. So it's pretty obvious how different we are from plants. We don't have leaves. We're not green. We don't hang out in the dirt. Well, sometimes. But it's less obvious how we are similar. But there are also opposites in movement. Let's take a look. Well, we have high shapes. Show me your highest shape. And the opposite of a high shape would be that's right, a low shape. So go ahead and make your low shape. High shape. And a low shape. More movement opposites are if you're moving slow. Everyone moves slowly. And what's the opposite of slow? Fast, of course. Everybody move fast. Fast movements. Freeze. Stand tall. Great. Another example would be a big movement, like this one. But if I wanted to make that move small, it might look like this. Right? You can do this move big or really small. Can you make a big move? This is a big move. And if I want to make it really small, I can go like this. Right? I move just a little bit. Another example might be, if I have a straight shape, what do you think the opposite of a straight shape is. Maybe a curve shape. So I could put lots of curves in. And that would be the opposite of a straight shape. Great. And from me to you, the opposite is being really far away. Or maybe I would be really close. Hello, we're outside today for class because we're talking about surviving and thriving and what that means. So there's a lot of plants around me and they're obviously thriving. They're standing really tall like this and they're reaching to the sun, so we know they're doing pretty well. But if we take a look down here, not thriving so much. They're very sad. They're laying like this. They're not reaching for the sun. They're barely hanging on. Therefore, probably not thriving or surviving. But let's take a closer look. Opposites. Let's take a look, because sometimes if something is thriving or surviving, or their needs are just not being met, those can be very opposite things. So first we have high. This says thriving, maybe surviving. And then low, high, and low. Or we could move slow. How slow can you move? Or maybe you move really fast. Those are opposites. Slow. And fast. What else do you think? Maybe straight. And the opposite would be curvy or wilting. Not straight, but bent and crooked. So, if you're doing really well as a plant, you might have very strong movements, right? A big, strong reach. So everyone reach up to the sky like you're reaching for the sun. That's right. You might be standing very strong and tall, and your roots are reaching down into the ground. Or maybe you're swaying in the breeze. This plant is thriving. Very nice. What other things do you think of when you see a thriving plant? Maybe flowers blooming. Let your flowers bloom. Fabulous. Those are thriving plants, and they're getting things like water and sun and this nice outside air to be thriving. Now, if you are a human like us, what do you need to be thriving? I like to move, especially outside. That makes me feel like I'm thriving. Maybe you like to play soccer. Maybe you like to sing. What do you need to feel your best? Very good. Well, I love to move, so let's go ahead and move through this stretch, and that shows me thriving. Put your hands on your hips and sway side to side. Big, slow sway side to side. Me at my best. I like to wiggle. I like to jump. What do you like to do? Right, maybe you like to sway your arms side to side. Maybe you like to spin. That would mean you were thriving. Nice job, friends. Survival is a little more clear. Surviving just means the plant or the human is alive. They are living. We are surviving. Now, that could look like a wide range of things. Some plants are alive, but maybe their leaves are dying or they're sick, right? So they may look a little more sad, right? They might be slumping over to the side. Maybe they don't have quite enough water or just enough sun, but we're just surviving. So maybe move a little slower in the wind. Or maybe they're just slowly melting into the ground. What do you think just a surviving plant looks like? Is it sprouting flowers? Probably not. It's just very closed and tight. So what about you? What if you are just surviving? What if you have a cold or a cough and maybe you're in bed? You're gonna make it, but it doesn't feel great. That's just surviving, right? You are not at your best. So we kind of just slow down and maybe you roll a little bit. Maybe you melt into your parents and they will make you feel better. You are surviving, but it's just not the best time. Surviving. Thriving. Surviving. Thriving. Surviving. Thriving. So let's put all of that information together in a dance. Now, let's look at first our surviving dance. Remember, you are alive, but probably not at your best. Maybe you're tired or sick, so we're slow moving. Walk really slowly. And then melt just a little. Maybe slide slowly this way. Maybe droop. And this way. I'm surviving. Sort of. Stand tall. Very nice job. Now we used non-locomotor movement like swaying and locomotor movement like walking and sliding to make that dance happen. Lots of movement, and we just used our bodies to show what a surviving plant looks like. Great. Now let's look at that thriving plant. So a bit more energy, maybe a little quicker. Let's see what it looks like. If I'm thriving, maybe I'm hopping, wiggling, marching, and reaching. We're thriving. we use non-locomotor movements like this to show the energy, and locomotor movements like marching to show the strength you have when you're thriving. Let's move through a specific example of how a plant may be surviving, then thriving, and even dying all in one. So right now outside it's pretty cold. The cold weather is really hard for plants around us in Louisiana because it's usually very hot. So now they're kind of struggling a little bit. So let's look. If I'm a plant, where do I start? This all the way down here in the ground. But then we get to grow and reach. We get water and sunlight, so we keep reaching. And you might just be blowing in the wind. But let's say the weather gets very cold, so maybe it's hard for you to hold out all those leaves. And they get really tired when they don't have enough water. And so they're just kind of moving down. And then it gets really cold and there's ice. And it's just so hard. It's so hard to be a plant in the winter time. See how that works? Now, let's take a closer look at humans, us. For us, our basic needs are water, clothes, and shelter. Water, like we drink. Simple enough. Clothes. And shelter, right? So your house or where you live, those are the things you need to survive. But thriving, that's a different story. What makes you happy? What do you need to make you smile? Think about that now. This is going to be different for everyone. But as discussed, I like to move and dance and stretch. That makes me feel like I'm thriving. So when we're making this dance, I'm going to do that. Maybe what you're doing looks like this. Or like this. Think about what you look like when you're having fun. Alright. So first, humans need water, as we discussed. We need shelter. And we need clothes. This means we're surviving. But for thriving, we need movement. We need sunshine. And we need people around us. That means thriving. So, I'm going to put all of that with no words. Follow me. That is me thriving. And again, in the tougher times, you might just be surviving. You're just getting by. Maybe you're sick, right? So you have to lay in bed for a long time. Maybe you stretch. But generally, you're not moving a lot. Or maybe when you're sad, you tend to get more still, more closed like this. It looks very different than thriving.
but you'll make it. Just surviving. Or maybe I've had a rough day, so I'm moving a little slower. Survival. I want to finish today's lesson with just a very long, fabulous stretch. So today we can be thriving. So I'm going to start standing tall like this with my arms by my side and feet together. And I'm just going to start moving my head side to side. Just slowly move your head side to side. This should feel super great in your neck. Now squeeze your shoulders at the top and drop them down. Squeeze, then drop. Squeeze, drop the shoulders. Squeeze, and drop. Very good. Now wiggle your arms just a little bit. Get some blood moving in there, and then reach them up super tall. And then reach all the way down. Reach up super tall. And reach all the way down. Now reach your arms out to the side big. And then reach one arm in front, one arm behind you. I'm twisting really big to this side. And twisting really big to this side. Big twist. Big twist. Very nice. Now I'm just going to pick my knees up one at a time. Big marches. Can you pick one up and hold it? If you can't, just put it down. Pick it up and hold it. And put it down. And pick this one up, hold it. Put it down. And we try one more time. And put it down. Very nice stretches. Reach out big to the side. My legs are open. And I'm going to go side to side, just like we do with our warm-up. Big side to side. Stand up tall. Can you reach for 4? This way. And reach behind you. This way. Do you see the wind blowing these plants behind me? Sway like the wind. Maybe it moves like this. Maybe it moves fast. Maybe it's a hurricane. Stand tall. Arms by your side and feet together. Going out. Great job. Today we talked about surviving and thriving. What are those needs that help us survive? What happens when those needs are not met? We generally don't do well, but what feels best is thriving. So I want you to go about the world and take a look around you and notice plants that are surviving or thriving. Also notice what you look like when you're thriving, what makes you feel best, and do more of that. Everybody, breathe into your nose, out through your mouth, 2 more times. One more time. Cross your arms, show your teacher you are ready to listen.